Hello everyone, good morning. Um, I just wanted to take this video or take the time to make a video where I just kind of talk about my experience traveling here in Albania, but also just in general, like from things that I've learned and thought about during my travels so far. And I wanted to talk, well, partly about routine and how to really be able to keep going, and also about privilege and I guess just my experience with that. So um, first of all, I think it's very important when you're traveling to have a routine. In a sense, it also depends on how much or how long you travel for. um, Up until I came here to Skoda, I had been traveling for almost, well, really I've only been was only here for a week in Albania before I went to Skoda. But now that I've been here in Skoda for a week, I can really start to feel like I can really tell how important having my hobbies, having the ability um, to dance, for example, take dance classes if I want to, or to um, be physically creative with something, how important that is for my well-being. Because I still of course listen to my music, but after a while that's not really enough. Like, I need a creative outlet in some sense, and sadly here there's no dance studios that I can go to, and I don't have my crafts with me because I wasn't thinking I would be here for such a long time. And that is just something that, depending on who you are and depending on how long you stay in one place, because if you're moving it doesn't really matter, because then you're always on go. But once you, I guess, land in a place for a little while, it's kind of important to not lose your individuality, and to still be able to maintain your own creativity and who you are as a person, in a sense. And for me, that is by being creative, and that is by dancing and this and that. um, Especially if where you are isn't as well connected as other places, um, because you might feel a bit stuck. So that's just a tip for whoever listens. If you're gonna stay traveling for a long time, just be mindful of that. Like, a lot of people have journeys with them, journals with them. Um, Next time I'll travel, I'll definitely bring a journal and some coloring pencils, and I will also bring my art, my crafts art, especially if I know I'm gonna be traveling for a long time. And the second thing I wanted to talk about here is kind of, I guess, privilege in a sense, but or how to make the most of your time in a country where you might not know the language and you might not know the culture and this and that, and but how to still be a good visitor, I guess. um, for me, this goes in many ways, but primarily two ways. One way is where I have the privilege, and one way is where other people think that I have a privilege I don't. And so the first one is, for example, when buying things, or when going to a restaurant, or when just interacting with the people living in the country, in their daily lives. Just kind of how you carry yourself, how you talk to people, how you expectations on them, like what they are. Because it's common, or not, maybe not common, but some tourists, especially the people that are on vacation, like that type of tourism, they might feel very entitled to a certain like um, type of service, I guess, because in their minds, they're on vacation. They paid for this or they paid for that or this and the third, and so they expect a certain type of greeting back from whoever runs the service, which isn't bad in itself, but it's how you meet that, how you communicate that can a lot of the times be very exhausting for the people providing the services. Um, and sometimes you just kind of have to bite your tongue. Um, as a tourist, um, depending on what it's about. If it's a small thing, like they forgot to give me a straw, like don't fucking make a scene. Like these people are working day in, day out. For example, here they have like such long. We were speaking about it like together at dinner sometime because the waiter was a bit moody towards us, and we were just like, what? We were like speaking to each other, right? Me and my friends. Yeah, we were like, is he mad at us or something? And then we're like, no, like he's probably just tired, you know. And we were like, yeah, you're right, because it's like fucking 30 degrees heat. He's probably been working since like 7 to 10 or like 8 to 10 in the evening, just in a restaurant where the humidity was like, with a, you know, like sometimes just bite your tongue, you know. It's not that, you know. Or for example, when I was doing the tour on the website, I intentionally picked the service that I picked for the tour because they had pickup at the hotel, and that was a part of what I paid for. But when the day came, they didn't have pickup at the hotel or like at the hostel. And at first I texted them, I was like, what's going on? Like, dude, you know? But then I was just like, whatever. Like, I know that they don't have to just pick up me. I know that they, if so, they're gonna pick up many different people. The schedule might be tight, this, that, and the third, right? So I said, let me bite my tongue, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. And also, it was like a 10-minute walk, not even. Like, it was literally just down the street. And so, in those moments, like, yes, you may expect a certain type of service, but you're also, in a sense, I guess, you know, like you're also, you can demand the world, but you can't expect everyone to like fall at your like every, you know, whim. um However, there are some times that you really have to step your foot down. Like for example, when I cut my hair and this lady fully disrespected me and was just fucking like genuinely a fucking twat. Like she was an idiot. I didn't pay for her service, and thank God that I knew somebody that could help me out of that situation from here, because it was a terrible situation. And in those situations, you don't have to do shit, you know, because respect will always go both ways, and that's just how it is all over the world. And I also think that because some people, when I talked about that, I got the sense that they kind of thought that I did wrong by not paying her. But in my mind, that just means that you think that she can't do her job, because like what the fuck, you know. And so sometimes you also kind of have to like visiting different parts of the world with different parts of like economical statuses and like cultures also means that you still have to like recognize that people are people all over the world. Like, we all work the same. Like, you're gonna meet the same people regardless of where you travel. It's just the same fucking people. It's like copy paste all over the world. But they're still like, we're all the individuals, you know. But it's not like you are special because you come from this place, or because they are special because they come from that place. We're literally the same all over the world. Like, in every country there's problems, in every country there's good things. And so don't also believe or like think, because I think a lot of people do that unconsciously, that people in like um different countries might not have the same abilities as you do in your country, which is just simply false. Like, there's professional in every sport from every country. There's professional cooks for in any cook of every country. It's okay to not like the food. Like, you're not being a racist because you think the food is nasty. Like, it's just that you might not like that particular chef's um, cooking. Now, if you then start to like talk about how they cook their food, or why they do certain things to certain things because you think that's not up to your standard, that's a different thing. Because now we're not talking about your taste buds reacting in a certain way chemically in your brain. Now you're making assumptions about a certain thing because it's foreign to you. Now that's racist. Like, that's an issue. And so also, you're allowed to have your opinions. You're allowed to talk or think freely or assume things. I had a conversation with somebody about breakfast here in Albania, and I asked, or like I made a comment like, I wonder why they use so much cheese, or like so much like lactose ingredients in their dishes, because it's not just the breakfast. But like a traditional breakfast was also like included not a feta cheese, but like a similarly like a white cheese, like a white, I guess, brined or aged cheese. And so I made a comment about that, being like, I wonder if they have a lot of cows. Like, they must have a lot of cows here or something, because, well, they have a lot of fucking lactose ingredients in their cooking. And she was like, why do you say that? I was like, because they have a lot of, you know. And she was just like, I don't know. This is like, she kind of reacted a little bit weirdly to that comment, and I was just like, but it makes sense though. Like, it makes sense. And also, um, yeah, it was also like another thing that was about like how here in Skåne, like, Albanians aren't really allowed to stay at hostels. Um, That's when I thought about Matteo about that, and he straight up said like, it's because Albanians don't, like, a lot of Albanians don't know how to interact with tourists. And I was like, what do you mean? He was just like, never mind. I don't know what the fuck that means. But basically, I just said that I think if you're in Albania, traveling in Albania, you still prefer a hotel. So like, I don't think that a lot of people mind. Whereas some other people that I've spoken to have been like, that's kind of weird. I'm not to say that it's not weird, but I'm saying like, I don't think that it's like a big issue. Like, I don't think that a lot of Albanians like feel hurt by that. Um, and because I also think that most Albanians travel in Albania do with their families. You know, I don't think that they're necessarily solo traveling in their own country. And if they are, maybe they have friends. You know, they might like those type of travels might stay with friends, or they might be able to go get into hostels. I don't know, but like, I'm just mentioning these things that to say that like, it's allowed to make assumptions. Like, it's not a bad thing to assume that that a country has like a lot of fucking, I don't know, a lot of fishermen, if their food has a lot of like fish ingredients. Like, that's just a, you know. And now, as it ends up or whatever, Albania do have a lot of cows, and they also have a lot of goats. So there is a lot of like milk, um, in the dishes here. What else? Yeah, so that's, I guess, privilege. And also, like, when you're bartering, when you're buying things, like, don't barter something that's already like €2 down to one. Like, what are you doing? A little bit. Like, just to have that said, like, you do have €2, you know. Like, it's sometimes you gotta think about these things too. Like, if it's €10 and you can get it down to, like, I don't know, six, depending on what it is, go for it. But if it's like €2 and you're trying to get it 1 to 1, but it all depends. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to bartering, like, you don't have to barter like your fucking head off, you know. Do be cute about it. But it is also expected in places, like, and I think that's like the thing with, like, in every place. If things don't have prices on them, you can barter and, like, do it if you want to. um I do it sometimes. I think, like, for me, it's like if I buy multiple things, then I most likely will barter. But if I just buy like a singular thing and that thing is under like €5 or €3, I'm not gonna barter that, depending on what it is. I might buy, if it was like a top for €5, because here is like there's a lot of thrifting. I might not buy a secondhand top for €5, because I wouldn't do that in Sweden. Preferably, no. Sweden is fucking one top for €10 and it's thrift. It's fucking insane. But do you get what I'm saying? Anyways, now the other side to privilege is, or to my privilege, is when, or the other side to that, and I guess this is like more so, um, yeah, is when I meet people here, not just here, but like in general, when traveling, and they have an assumption about me as a Swedish person, um, or about Sweden, that is just not true, and how I react to that, because sometimes it's exhausting, honestly. It can be very exhausting because for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, a lot of people like really start making jokes about how Sweden is when they hear that I'm from Sweden. Like, they love to joke about the men here, by the way. They love to joke about how the men in Sweden are feminine, or how we are all so privileged, and that we all live a certain lifestyle, um, that might, as if we live a life that is so different from this life or something. And depending on who it comes from, I either kind of just be like, oh yeah, 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 ha ha ha, hee hee ha ha, whatever, or I let them know that I'm sure there's some people like that, but that is not my story, and that is not a lot of our stories in Sweden. And I more or less educate on that, and I let them know a little bit about my life, or about my friends, like my community, essentially. And that is also that is something that I've found very interesting from traveling. Like, I never knew how other people from other like places in the world, and not just like here in Albania or Colombia, but also just like the people that you meet from traveling, other travelers, how, like, because essentially now I feel like I've met people from almost all over the world, or at least in like the northern hemisphere, like people from all over the world, um, and just how they view Sweden, I guess. And it's interesting because in my experience isn't at all what a lot of people assume a Swedish experience to be. And it's almost, it's exhausting, honestly. Honestly, it's exhausting to hear that time and time and time and time over again, like, oh, like, you must have it so nice, and you're all like this, and you're also this, and you're also that. And it's like, that's also a time where I have to recognize my privilege, and being like, first of all, yeah, it is nice, like, let's get that over with. Like, it is very nice. We have a great system, and we have a great you know we have a great educational system. For once, we have good social welfare. We have tax, the healthcare, like, we have all of these things. We have great infrastructure that really does make Sweden a great country to live in. But, and all of that is true, but at the same time, I think it's very much allowed to be exhausting from hearing expectations on who you are as a person, just because of what other assumptions that people might have about your country. And um, I mean, I'm sure it's like that in every country, but it's just kind of interesting to see it and hear it, and how I I'm also a little bit surprised about how um, how easy, or like how freely people, I guess, how comfortable people are when speaking about privilege in that way. Um, and so, depending on the situation, like, for example, if the person is older, I really just shut the fuck up. Because, like, I'm not gonna argue with an older person, you know? I'm not gonna argue with the elderly. But if there's like a person in my own age, or like a similar age as mine, like an adult, but not like, either like a teen adult, like adult in my generation, right? Or like a little bit older. And if we are having like a genuine conversation, and it's not just um like a cashier maybe, and I'm really just there to buy a water for like 2 seconds, then I might not do it. But if it's a person in similar age that, we're actually in a conversation, then I will take my time to be like, I mean, you're right, but like, Sweden is not just like that, like. And then I explain, we still have very issues, we have a lot of racism, and right now especially our politics are very crazy, like, um, and this and that. And also, it's just like, it also depends, like, not all men are like that in Sweden. A lot of Swedish people are, uh, but also just like how the culture is in general as well. Like, I talk a lot about going out in Sweden, and how we have fun, and like how it is to be young in Sweden, and all the things that I enjoy about it. And sometimes even like why we are the way we are, like why Swedish people are a bit, not cold, but why we're so reserved, and um, how yeah, like how we're quite like individualistic, and how that's a part of, a bigger thing as well. It's not like we're cold by default, is that we live in a quite a capitalist country and everything. And so then I'll have these types of conversation with whoever I'm talking to, and usually by the end of it, it's like, oh really, like, I didn't know that, like, now I know, I guess. And it's just as much me learning about life when I'm traveling, as letting them know that we are all more or less from the same world, and not to say that they don't know, but also to kind of, also for me to give myself a chance to be um, understood, or like to be properly communicated, like, or properly perceived, from other people's perspective. And yeah, I guess those were like the things that I wanted to just talk about a little bit, because the more I travel, and like travel in this way also, it's just, yeah, you learn, and it's interesting. And yeah, I also just realized how much I miss Colombia. I feel like I'm what's it called, like, I feel like I am romanticizing it in my head. But I really do miss Colombia, and I do want to go back and everything. And especially like after yesterday, like, I don't know, it was just a very emotionally intense day. um, and it really drained me to do my best all day, just being me, which of course comes naturally. But if you know me, you know my social battery is a very weak battery. It needs a lot of loading. And I think that I do need more alone time than I had, that I've taken for myself these last few days. And so yesterday was just a bit too much for me when it comes to like emotions and socializing. But it was a great day. Nevertheless, it was a really, really great day. And I'm really happy to be here still, and that I extended my little journey here. Although I am quite happy that I'll go back soon, because I'm getting really tired. And I also don't feel like traveling no more. Like, I already felt that a couple of days ago. Like, yeah, I'm done with traveling. Like when I was in Unshin, when I was in Montenegro, I kind of felt like that, because I could have gone a bit more up north, like to Budva. I could have also gone to North Macedonia, to Orhyd, but I just felt like, no, I just want to go back and chill, because I'm tired. I'm not that excited about going to a new place again. And when you get that feeling, um, I got that feeling in Palomino as well. Like when you get that feeling, it might just be time to go home. Or it might just be time to stay in a place for a month, maybe 2 months, to like get a little life somewhere, and then to move on again. I feel like that's like the biggest takeaway from any of it, is just to just follow your gut. And don't be afraid to like speak your mind. Just be respectful in anything. And yeah, and that was that. So thank you for today and for this video. And I'm still editing my videos from Colombia, and I've also started editing the videos from here in Albania. But regardless of when you'll see the next video, I'll see you in the next video. And I love you, and love yourselves, and take care of yourselves, and follow your heart, and do your best to be you, whatever that means to you. Bye.